Hello and welcome to Shannon Gardens. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So in this week's video, I wanted to discuss deer-resistant annuals. Now, I did a video about deer-resistant perennials probably about a month or so ago, and this week's video is going to be focusing specifically on annuals, but I will have a link to the perennial video if you care to take a look at that in the description below. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have deer that come through my yard and garden and have increasingly been doing so in the last few years. So it's really been of even more importance to me when shopping for plants to add to the garden to look out for those plants marked as deer resistant. So I'll be going through some of the annuals that are noted to be deer resistant, and these are both annuals that I've had experience with as well as some annuals that I haven't had experience with, but I did want to include in this week's list. Now, as we go through the list of annuals, I will share some additional information about those annuals as well and share any links to videos that I have done regarding some of the specific annuals just in the past, in case you'd care to learn even more information about those annuals. So I'll make sure to note that in the video as well. Now, one other thing that I did want to point out is that these are deer resistant plants. These are not deer proof. These are plants that more than likely the deer are going to pass by, but there's no guarantee that they aren't going to nibble on them. So that's always a possibility. Deer have a mind of their own, so sometimes they are going to nibble on those plants, but these are the ones that are marked as deer resistant. And I'll share with you guys too in the video as we go through a couple of the plants that I have had personal experience with that I've also had the best experience with when it comes to deer resistance. All right, you guys, so I'm so excited to get started, so let's get to it. Our first deer resistant annual that we're looking at today is annual Salvia. There are said to be over 1,000 species in the Salvia genus. These flowers can come in a variety of colors, including red, white, pink, salmon, lavender, burgundy, and orange. They attract hummingbirds, butterflies, and other pollinators. They are heat and drought resistant and are known for their longer bloom time, which can range from spring to fall. Now, I've planted annual salvia in both containers and in my garden for years, and I absolutely love adding these to my landscape. Next, we have begonias. Begonias are a part sun to shade annual, although some varieties are even noted to be tolerant of full sun. There are many different begonia species and varieties that include both single or double flowers, and they come in colors including pink, red, white, yellow, and orange. They are also known to have lovely foliage like this one I'm showing here with this pretty bronze foliage. Celosia, which is commonly known as wolf-flowers, is a really interesting flowering annual that stands out to me with their bright colorations of purple, red, orange, yellow, and white. These are full sun annuals that bloom spring through frost. I have planted these in my garden many times, probably mostly in containers, and then some in the ground as well, and have really enjoyed having them in my landscape. Next, we have a true favorite of mine. This is Cleome, which is also known as spider flower. Now, there are self-seeding varieties, which is the type that I have. So while they are considered annuals, mine come back every year because they self-seed. They are very dependable, and they come in colors of white, pink, rose, lavender, and bicolor. Cleome prefer full sun to light shade, bloom approximately June through frost, and are also noted as rabbit resistant as well. This is definitely a mainstay in my garden that I've had for years, and they have not been bothered by deer in my experience. If you'd like to learn more about adding Cleome to your garden, please check out my video about Cleome that I've linked in this video's description. Coleus is a beautiful varied foliage plant that comes in many colors, patterns, and textures. These plants are noted as low maintenance with varieties available for shade to part and full sun and come in both upright and trailing varieties. I have planted Coleus mostly in containers in the past, and I really do like it, but have found that I needed more room than what I originally thought, as mine were profuse growers. Next, we have Cosmos, which is a beautiful full sun annual that provides a cottage garden feeling. They are easily grown from seed, and as I have pictured here, these are from seed that I grew last year, and they flowered for me from summer through fall. They attract bees, butterflies, and birds. Next is annual Lantana. This comes in a variety of colors, including yellow, multicolored, pink, red, orange, and lavender. Lantana is a full sun annual that attracts butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees. They are extremely low maintenance and a plant that I use both in containers and in the ground year after year without issues with deer. This is also in my video about my top 5 annuals that I've linked in the description if you'd like to learn a bit more about annual lantana and some of the other annuals covered in today's video as well. Marigolds are recommended as a full sun annual that blooms spring to fall. They come in a variety of colors, including multicolored, orange, red, white, and yellow. They are also known as great companion plants for tomatoes to be used as a pest deterrent. Marigolds attract butterflies and bees and are definitely a plant that I've used both in containers and in the ground for years. Next, we have petunias, which come in many varieties that can tolerate anywhere from full sun to part shade. This is an annual that blooms spring to fall and attracts hummingbirds and butterflies. Pentas are annuals with star-shaped blooms that come in white, red, pink, and lavender and attract hummingbirds, butterflies, and bees. I absolutely love these very low maintenance annuals and have used them for years, particularly in containers. In addition to being noted as deer resistant, they are also noted to be rabbit resistant as well, which is just another great perk to these plants. Next are the vibrantly colored primroses. There are more than 400 species and they're generally a part shade to shade annual depending on the variety. They come in a wide range of colors, including red, pink, orange, yellow, white, and purple. In some zones, they can be grown as short-lived perennials. However, in my area, which is zones 7B and 8A in Georgia, they are marked as annuals that typically bloom in late winter and spring. If you'd like to learn more about primroses, I've linked my primrose video in the description as well. I've really enjoyed having our next annual, which is a bit of a newer one for me, and that's the Snapdragon. Snapdragons come in varieties including dwarf, mid, and tall heights with white, yellow, pink, red, orange, and purple colorations. They are generally recommended for planting in full sun, but are tolerant of part shade as well. I currently have Snapdragons that I planted earlier this year that I've moved into containers to a more sun-protected area right now, and they've been re-blooming since spring, which has been very surprising to me in the heat we've been experiencing. I have also included my Snapdragon video in the description if you're interested in learning a bit more about these unique flowers. Vinca is a full sun annual that is drought tolerant and generally pest free with a bloom time from summer to frost. The Vinca comes in many shades of pink, red, mauve, lilac, and white. These pretty flowers attract butterflies and are also noted to be rabbit resistant. Vinca is also noted to be self-cleaning and therefore deadheading is not necessary, which is an added benefit. The last annual I'm touching on today is definitely one that I've physically seen the deer pass time and again in my garden, and that is the zinnia. Zinnias are wonderfully dependable annuals that bloom summer through fall and attract butterflies, hummingbirds, and bees. The colors range from purple, orange, yellow, white, pink, and red. This is a flower that I plant in areas of my yard that are heavier with deer traffic, and I have not experienced an issue with them. I recently added these to my front yard garden, and I'll link that video in the description, and they are also referenced in my top 5 annuals video if you'd be interested in taking a look at those. I've included a couple of pictures and videos here just showing a few different combinations of some of the highlighted annuals in containers and in the ground, just to give an idea of how I mix these in my garden. I tend to use marigolds quite a bit, and here I have marigolds planted with zinnias with a grass in the background in that container. I also quite often plant pentas and annual lantana together as I find that they have similar requirements and pair nicely with one another. And then here I have zinnias planted in front of a dwarf butterfly bush, and then to the left of that, which is kind of hard to see, but I also have annual lantana in the ground there as well. Please also let me know in the comments what annuals you like to use in your garden that have proven to be deer resistant. I would love to hear your experiences as well. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm so excited to go through those annuals and hope that that information is helpful for you guys. I know it has been helpful for me to really take note of those deer resistant annuals as I go to the garden centers to make my purchases. So thank you so much again. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a new video. All right, you guys, I think that's it. And until next time, happy gardening and goodbye.